Hi and welcome. I'm Lisa. Thanks so much for joining me on my YouTube channel or website for another card video. Today I'm sharing two Halloween cards showcasing a few items from Whimsy Stamps along with a few other products that will be linked below, and you can find them listed on my website as well. I'll be showing you how to ink blend the background, watercolor the moon, along with assembling the cards during this video. So let's just jump right into it. Here's a look at the Whimsy Stamps Dracula's Coffin dies. I'm die cutting two each of the bat, small and large headstones. Here's the No See All Seasons tree dies. I'm going to die cut one tree to create both cards. The No See Curved Heels, I'm die cutting two each of the fence. And I'm using the You're My Boo Sentiment stamp set. I have two pieces of Strathmore watercolor paper, two pieces of masking paper that I die cut using a 3-inch round die for the moon, and I die cut the large All Seasons tree and then cut it down the center with my paper trimmer. I want to figure out the placement of the moon, so I align the edge of the tree to the edge of the paper, find the placement of my moon, and adhere it to the paper behind the tree. So we're going to set the trees aside for now. We'll also repeat the same process for the second panel. I'm ready to start doing some ink blending for the background, and I'm using Distress inks in the colors Black Soot and Peacock Feathers for this first panel. I'm laying the Black Soot ink down on the top and bottom, and I'm starting with a heavy pressure and lightening that pressure as I move inward on the card panel. I'm not worrying about perfection at this point because I'll go back over this a few times to blend the Peacock Feathers ink with the Black Soot. I love this technique to create backgrounds. You can create some really fun, spooky backgrounds with it. And I do have another video that I'll link at the end of this one showing you this same technique on a different card, and it'll be linked in case you want to check it out. So now I'm starting to lay down the Peacock Feathers ink, and again, I'm not worried about perfection. My goal is to cover the rest of the card panel with this ink. Once I have the panel covered, I'm going to start blending the two colors together, and it doesn't take much to blend them. For the next panel, I'm using Distress inks in the color Black Soot and Shabby Shutters. I'm going to repeat that same process of laying down the black ink, the Shabby Shutters ink, and then blending them together. Here's the ink blended backgrounds. Now, if you aren't comfortable with watercoloring the moon, you could leave these as is and just start assembling the cards. However, I would like to encourage you to try watercoloring the moon. All I did was Google glowing moon, picked a picture, and mimicked that picture to the best of my ability. I just had fun with it. It's something I've been wanting to try, so I just said, you know what, let's just do it. And I'm happy I did because I really like the way these turned out. So to get started, I went ahead and laid some Distress Oxide inks on my mat in the colors Weathered Wood and Hickory Smoke. I have two round watercolor brushes here, a number 2 and a number 4, along with a cup of clean water. I'm starting by laying clean water down only where I want to add color to my moon. And remember, I'm just mimicking a picture I'm looking at on my laptop. So I start by laying down the darkest gray color, and then I'll go back in and add the lighter gray to fill in around that dark area. And I'm being careful to leave a white space between the ink blended background and the Distress Oxides I'm laying down. And you'll notice I'm working back and forth between the two card panels, allowing them a little drying time while I work on the other. The only tip I can give you for this is just to have fun with it. Try it on a scrap piece of paper first if you're not too sure about it, but just give it a go. You never know what could happen. So I also learned I like the way the ink moves and dries if I let the clean water puddle up on that card panel. So the picture that I'm mimicking does have a little bit of yellow to it, so I laid down Distress Oxide colors scattered straw and squeezed lemonade, and I'm wanting to fill in some of the white area with the yellow. I'm using this same process as before, laying down clean water, then adding the scattered straw and squeezed lemonade. And once I'm done, I'm just going to set these aside to dry. Once they're dry, I want to add some white splatters to the sky. So I've torn a piece of scrap paper in half to cover the bottom of the card panels and protect it from the splatter. I'm using the Finetec Gold palette. The color is sterling silver. I add water to the pan, grab my acrylic stamping block, lay a small amount of the sterling silver on the block, and flick it onto my card panels. For small specks, I tab the brush on my finger over the card panel. So I'm just going to let these dry. And to save some time, I've already die cut all of my die cut pieces, and I used black cardstock for all of them. I want to heat emboss part of my sentiment on the headstones and then finish the sentiment on the inside of the card. So I'm stamping "Have a Happy" on the headstones using my MISTI. I position the stamps and lift them with the lid of the MISTI, apply anti-static powder to the headstones, then stamp using embossing ink, cover with gold embossing powder, and heat set. Once the headstones have cooled off, I wipe the excess powder off of the headstones. And there's our headstones. So before I did my die cutting, I took a piece of black cardstock and covered it with double-sided adhesive. And I wanted to die cut my bats and my tree so that I could add glitter to them. So by adding that double-sided adhesive, it allows me to peel the backing off and then just press glitter into that double-sided adhesive, and it clings, it sticks to that double-sided adhesive perfectly. So it allows me to create some fun glittery effects on my card without having to get too messy. Okay, so I did go ahead and adhere the ink blended background to the front of our card panels already, and then I decided before I put anything else on the front of the card, I wanted to go ahead and stamp the sentiment on the inside, so I just used VersaFine Onyx Black ink for that. I added 3D mounting foam strips to the back of the trees, and I'm going to align them on the front of the card panel. And then I'm going to add 3D mounting foam to the back of the fence, making sure to only put it on part of the fence because it's going to lay on that tree too. So liquid adhesive to adhere our headstones, and then we're going to peel the backing off of the fence and add those to our card. So now that that's done, we're just going to add that 3D mounting foam to the back of the bats. These little mounting foam strips are so amazing. They're like 1/8 of an inch thick, so they're perfect for tiny little pieces like this, and they're real sticky, so they adhere to your card panels perfectly. So just peel the backing off and then place your bat on the moon. So I wanted to use that second bat on the inside just to give it a little bit of fun inside the card. So I just used liquid adhesive and adhered it above the Halloween sentiment. I wanted to add some highlights to the headstones and to the fence, so I pulled out that Finetec palette again, and I'm using the color Moon Gold and a tiny detail brush. I added a small amount of water because when I'm adding highlights like this to a dark cardstock, I like for my watercolor to be a little bit thick, so I didn't want to add too much water and water it down. So I'm just going in, adding a little bit of highlighting to that with that Moon Gold color. So here's our finished card. We're all done. Have a happy Halloween. I love the way these turned out. I'm so happy I gave that moon a try, and I'm going to be trying it again. So they say practice makes perfection, right? Okay, so I hope you enjoyed joining me, and I hope that you were inspired enough to head to your crafty space and create something amazing today. I want to encourage you to leave any comments or suggestions below. I do hope you'll hit the subscribe button and click the bell to be notified of new content to my channel. And if you could hit that like button, that would be awesome. Also, be sure to subscribe to my website where you can find videos and blog posts in one spot. As always, know I appreciate you taking your time to watch this video. And until next time, my crafty friends, keep crafting.